Hey guys, it's Gaba VR, and this time I'll show you the most exciting features for the brand new Insta360 X3. Doesn't matter if you're a 360 content creator or someone who shoots creative B-rolls for traditional videos, you'll find really nice upgrades since 1X or 1X2. So let's jump into it. First, let's talk about some physical changes, which will obviously affect the quality and usability as well. We can see two noticeable changes on the camera for the first side. One of them is the huge touchscreen with tempered glass, which makes the camera more user-friendly. You can easily switch between the different modes and settings, while it provides you a decent preview without having to use a smartphone. And even more, it has more advantages I'll talk about soon. But until that, let's see another visible change, which is about the lenses. It looks different than the 1X2, and it's not only an optical upgrade, but X3 has bigger sensor size behind these lenses. It means we can expect better dynamic range, clarity and low light performance. And talking about dynamic range, here comes another huge upgrade hidden inside the camera, the so-called active HDR function. I loved HDR videos even in my first generation 1X, especially because after some software updates it became better and better. But I mostly trusted in HDR during shooting with a tripod, because handheld HDR videos didn't always turn out as well as I expected, especially because of some artifacts like flashing areas and stitching issues. But now active HDR is a whole new level, giving us more dynamic range while it's more reliable than ever. And despite 5.7K video size didn't change in 1X3, thanks to the sensor upgrade and active HDR, the video quality looks way better compared to 1X and 1X2. I'm talking about 1X2, in that review video I already mentioned how important it is to have a waterproof camera, especially in travel vlogging or filming sports. Well, with X3, Insta360 stepped one more step further. And this camera became waterproof to 33 feet. So now we can't complain about it anymore, even in extreme situations or weather conditions. But now let's take a closer look at it, how we can benefit from all the upgrades as 360 content creators. As I've already mentioned, the better dynamic range and the improved sensor leads to a better overall video quality, which is very important, especially when we shoot 360 contents. Previously, I had to apply complicated color grading techniques for the best result, opening up the shadows and keeping the highlights, but now most of the job is done in camera. And besides a quicker and easier post-production, we can shoot easier too. Recording 360 videos, we can use this big touchscreen for real-time monitoring during talking to the camera. It's important to see if we're on the right place, especially when we're pointing at certain objects in the 360 space. And it can be important in reframe videos too, when we are talking to the audience. And now let's see some new features for reframing or using this camera as a traditional action cam. In such a case we can select 4K single lens mode or ME mode. 4K single lens mode turns this camera into a more traditional action cam. We can point the camera wherever we want, selecting the front or back lens, while ME mode is a little bit more interesting option, creating an invisible camera effect. In this case, the camera will track us whatever we do, looking like there was a floating invisible camera somewhere in front of us. And it's totally automatic. We don't have to bother with any further settings during post-production. I just put the camera on the invisible selfie stick, and that's all. I'll always be in the middle of the frame, doesn't matter how I hold the camera. It can be even in a very low or high position. Thanks to flow state stabilization and 360 horizon lock, our footage will be well stabilized with a straight horizon, and in addition will be centered in the frame. Of course, we can track objects and motions with the smartphone app or desktop app too, but you know it's an extra step during editing, while using ME mode is faster and easier. And there are more cool effects we can create with X3. We can record 4K 120 FPS for better bullet time videos. I really loved the original version too, but with this higher speed, we can freeze motions we couldn't freeze before. For instance, we can make bullet time during skating, biking, or simply jumping or recreating some crazy positions from Matrix. And it's still very easy. We can make this effect manually or automatically in ShotLab among further cool options, like nose mode. In one of my previous tutorials I showed you a technique how you can record POV shots easily with 1x. And it's almost the same thing, at least in terms of recording. You can put your camera in your mouth, but I prefer to use a small cold shoe adapter instead and hold the camera like this. And then you can use this footage as a POV shot, or you can create a crazy nose mode effect turning the virtual camera in the opposite direction, or simply selecting nose mode in ShotLab. But I also love the new Streamlabs effect, which looks really cool if you shoot it in crowded places. If you're interested about these techniques and all the tips and tricks how to shoot and edit them for the best result, subscribe to my YouTube channel for these brand new X3 tutorials. Stay tuned and see you next time!